Good evening and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, broadcasting live via SHR Media from beautiful Cape May County, New Jersey. I hope all is well with everyone out there. I'm very excited to be back with you all again this week. I wanted to let you know that my guest this week is author Noah St. John. He's the author of the book, and he's going to talk to us about Power Habits, the new science for making success automatic. He actually has authored several books. That's just his latest new book. So I'm excited to have him on the show today. But before we get to that, a little bit of housekeeping. I always forget to ask you guys, and I'm gonna remember now though, to follow me on social media. I'm gonna say it right now. At Money Talk Mel is where you can follow me. If you want to follow the show on social media. Now, if you want to follow my political musings, if you dare to follow my political musings, you can follow me at NJGOP Diva, NJGOP Diva on Twitter. Also, have you liked the Facebook page yet? The Facebook page is at Money Talk with Melanie on Facebook, where you can also get the live streaming video when I do the show. I'm actually trying to see if the video is streaming live now. It's supposed to be, but I do not see it. So for those of you who usually listen via Facebook, I am double checking that right now because it doesn't look like it is streaming live the way it is supposed to be. So I will double check on that for you, but it says it is. Okay, so I think it is. I was not quite sure. Oh, I know where it is. I just realized that it's streaming. I did a little test the last time I was preparing for the show, and I streamed it live to the Money Talk with Melanie Facebook page. That's where it is. I see. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, for those of you who are listening on SHR Media, and share it to my personal page at Money Talk Mel. That way everybody will be able to see it. That makes a lot more sense now. Okay, anyway, what's going on in the news? Nothing, just a little bit of impeachment hearings for the President of the United States. That's not really all that big a deal. Actually, it's actually quite a huge deal that they are trying to impeach the president. Why? I don't know. They don't have the majority in the Senate, and they would literally have to flip. I think it's like 20 seats or so in order to actually get rid of him. So I think it's just an exercise in ruining his reputation and trying to ruin him for the upcoming election. That's what I honestly think it's about trying to get him to not win the election, because as one of the Democrat congressmen, I believe it was, said, if they don't impeach him, if they don't get rid of him that way, he's probably going to win re-election. And all signs point to that happening. So, it's one of those situations where we heard all this testimony, quite frankly, and I know I am biased, but we heard all of this testimony. I heard nothing that was a smoking gun. It was an impeachable offense, high crimes and misdemeanors. I heard none of that. And meanwhile, the stock market is just kind of going meh as far as, whether or not usually if a president is going to be impeached, then typically the stock market reacts to stuff like that. But the stock market doesn't seem to be reacting to that at all, not even a little bit. So I did not catch how the stock market did today, but over the last couple of days, it's been flat. So, I don't think that anything is going to happen there. But I will say that I am continually frustrated. I'm one of those people who's, as you guys know, totally addicted to politics. And I don't tell my boss that I watched a lot of the hearings and listened to a lot of the hearings while they were going on. And I heard nothing. I saw nothing in the post-game analysis, if you will, that said that, this is going to be a problem for the president. And certainly I don't think any of the senators heard anything that said that what's going on is impeachable. I personally don't see it, but like I said, I know I'm biased because I am someone who voted for President Trump. And now that I see, quite frankly, how they're treating him, I was not a never Trumper, but I was not a fan of President Trump. And now I'm kind of a card carrying fan because I don't like how he's being treated. I know that he does not always behave well, but what they're doing is not cool in my humble opinion. Anyway, I'll just stop ranting about that. In the Money Talk news, Tesla. This story is kind of funny. I actually caught this just as I was coming to air. Tesla has Elon Musk and Tesla has a brand new truck out apparently, and the windows were supposed to be indestructible. Now, the story that I got before I saw the news report, they debuted this truck today, and on LinkedIn it said, "Is this Tesla Cybertruck going to win over the U.S.?" And the article says here, with Ford and General Motors controlling roughly 92% of the half-ton truck segment, this is according to Bloomberg, analysts are wondering if there's room for Tesla's truck among Detroit's trucklords. Well, the windows are supposed to be indestructible, and they threw a ball or something at the windows, and it turns out not so indestructible. That was just kind of funny. I just thought that was Elon Musk is such a guru, and for that to happen, it was just like, wow. Facebook, and more Facebook news, they are looking over some more rules on ads. According to the Wall Street Journal, they are considering increasing the minimum number of people who can be targeted by political ads on its platform. And that's Wall Street Journal cited several anonymous sources on this. Now, somebody who's involved in politics, as you guys know, shout out to Legislative District 1 here in New Jersey and Congressional District 2 here in New Jersey, where I live, and all my elected officials, my Republican elected officials in my district. But I did social media for a couple of the candidates that won this year, and I can tell you, dealing with political ads on Facebook is an absolute bear. So I would welcome them increasing the number of people who can be targeted. I will say this about their marketing is that being able to target as far as value for your ad dollars on Facebook is a pretty cool thing. Just, I just want to put that out there. If you're considering for dollar, I think it's a pretty awesome component that they have going on there. I like it anyway. I quite enjoy it. And there's not much about Facebook, especially being a card-carrying conservative, that I absolutely love, but I do love the fact that you're able to do that. Let's see what else. One more thing. Wow. WeWork. And I don't know, those of you who live in the city have probably heard of WeWork. It's kind of like it's like a big building usually where you have these little workspaces, like a remote workspace. I'm a big fan of WeWork, and apparently they announced that they were keeping their current co-CEOs in a name to be so that they can be cash flow positive by 2023. That's a good idea. And, this is a day after they announced 2,400 job cuts, according to Bloomberg. So I'm glad that they're going to stay in business. They have a 5-year plan to get themselves back on track. And I hope to see them be super successful, because WeWork is a pretty awesome concept. And when I go to places like DC and New York and I need a place to work, it's a nice little spot to work. Anywho, you're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, broadcasting live on SHR Media. My guest today is the one and only Noah St. John. He's going to talk to us about power habits, the new science for making success automatic. Very excited to talk to him about that. Coming your way is a brand new Ron Edwards notebook. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
The decision by Chick-fil-A to cave into leftist agitators sets a bad example for America's young people. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards on today's page from the Edwards Notebook. It's bad enough the current flock of decision makers at Chick-fil-A have chosen the limited power of the leftist LGBTQ agitators over the sovereign God they used to honor. Their business practices have been above board and second to none. Despite being closed on Sundays and ongoing attacks from the political left, Chick-fil-A grew to become the third largest fast food restaurant chain in America. It used to be the Chick-fil-A way attracted throngs of enthusiastic customers from most walks of life, including millions of young Americans. What Chick-fil-A used to exhibit was, if you honor God, He will bless you greatly for all to see. They were a marketplace ministry witness of God's grace and blessing to those who choose to operate according to His principles. Unfortunately, Chick-fil-A has now reversed course, setting a bad example by turning away from what made them great. I'm Ron Edwards. Check out theronedwards.talkspot.com for news updates and other great stuff. Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Right now, you can get the credit you deserve. Just visit MrCreditRepair.biz. Let their expert credit repair specialists remove late payments, charge-offs, collections, even old bankruptcies, fast and easy. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Why go anyplace else? Increase your credit score today. At Mr. Credit, you always get a quality service, all at our everyday discounted price. Stop getting turned down for cars, credit cards, or even new homes. Visit MrCreditRepair.biz today. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Your credit repair is our #1 priority.
Making a living can be tough these days with so many jobs going overseas. If you love numbers and puzzles and want job security, you can become a tax specialist with an amazing 6-month tax course from Tax Mama. Operate your own tax practice locally or anywhere in the world where there are American taxpayers. It's a great way to write off your trips to visit family for months at a time. Everything you need to pass the IRS 3 special enrollment examinations is included in this course. Visit irsexams.school. And if you need more than 6 months, that's okay. Take your time. You're in the course until you pass the exams or until you unsubscribe and reject Tax Mama's emails.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. And our guest today is author Noah St. John. I want to tell you a tiny bit about Noah. Noah St. John is known as the Power Habits Mentor, and he is famous for helping people get rid of their head trash and make more money. Noah is the only author in history to have works published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Mindvalley, Nightingale Conant, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. He also appears frequently in the news worldwide, including ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Parade Magazine, Entrepreneur.com, and the Huffington Post. You will get up to $299 in free gifts when you order Noah's new book, Power Habits, at www.powerhabits.com. And without further ado, welcome Noah St. John.
Hey, Melanie, great to be with you today.
It's great to be with you today. I'm so happy to have you on because you sounded like such a positive person and a positive person to have on the show. And there's so much gloom and doom and division in the news these days. I wanted to have somebody super upbeat and talk about something positive and encouraging. So I'm glad to have you on the show.
Well, thank you so much. It really is an honor, and I love what you're doing. I think it's great, and I love talking money. So let's money talk. It's great. I love it.
Money talk with Melanie. Why not? So
exactly.
I love the fact that you call the book Power Habits that people are talking about. Why did you write this book, and why did you write the book now? Why was this the time?
Well, as you just said, Melanie, there's so much division and really confusion and frankly a lot of misinformation out there about this whole topic of money and making money in today's economy and that whole type of thing. I have just a very brief about why I wrote this book. I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. I know that's a total cliche, but I grew up in a small town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which just happens to be one of the wealthiest communities in New England. But my family was dirt poor. I mean that literally because we lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure. So from a very young age, I was painfully exposed comparison between the haves and the have-nots. And so, you always hear, well, the secret to success is work hard. Hard work, that's the secret to success. But I saw my parents working hard all the time, and they never got ahead. So I'm like, that's not the secret, because that's not it. There's got to be something they're not telling us. And so I went on a very, very long journey to try to find the answers to, why so many people who work really hard, smart, creative, talented, hardworking people, never really succeed, never reach their goals, never get to the level that they want to, whereas other people who don't seem to work so hard, aren't even as smart or intelligent, get everything they want. And really what that became was what we now call the power habit system. And as you mentioned, the new book is called Power Habits, the new science for making success automatic. And I know that sounds kind of strange or maybe even funny to some people, but it's really, really true, because what I realized is that the full name of my system is the Power Habits of Unconsciously Successful People. And what I mean by that is there are these highly successful people that I call the naturals of success. And what it is I have now, in the book, I show you how to allow yourself to succeed to the level that you're fully capable of.
Now, I find it interesting that I have a friend who says to me all the time, words are important. And it's usually in the form of chastisement, but he means well. But I noticed that you said allow yourself to be successful. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, absolutely. So that's one of the big reasons, Melanie, that I've helped so many people over the last 20 years to add millions and millions of dollars. Literally, my clients have added over $2.7 billion over the last 20 years. And what I mean by that is we've helped, just everyday hardworking people, business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, celebrities, athletes, working moms, to literally add 6, 7, and even 8 figures, in added revenues and sales. And the way that we've done that, one of the big reasons that has happened is because of this power habit system that I developed. So when you look at the traditional success literature or traditional success programs out there, they're all about how to succeed, right? How to make money, how to be successful in business, how to make money in the stock market, how to make money in real estate, and all that stuff. And that's all great. They're all fine. Nothing wrong with those programs at all. But here's the problem. Most of those programs are taught by what I call the naturals of success. In other words, someone who is unconsciously competent at allowing themselves to succeed, someone who's not held back by their head trash, someone who's not driving down the road of life with one foot on the brake. Meanwhile, 98% of us, 98% of humanity is doing that. We do have head trash. We are holding ourselves back. And so those people who are teaching those programs are not doing anything wrong. It's just that they leave out all the good stuff. They literally left out everything that is needed in order to allow ourselves to succeed. And this goes back to my very first book. You mentioned that I've written several books. I mean, this is actually my 15th book, Power Habits, this new book. And my very first book was entitled Permission to Succeed. Because in 1997, I realized I had an epiphany, a discovery, where I discovered a condition that I call success anorexia. People are actually unknowingly, unwittingly starving themselves of success. I know it sounds funny to some people, but it's really, really true. There are millions of people unknowingly, unconsciously starving themselves of the success they're capable of, which leads to behaviors like self-sabotage and driving down the road of life with one foot on the brake. So because of my power habit system that I've been able to teach people, that's how you're able to stop stopping yourself from the level of success you're perfectly capable of and actually allow yourself to succeed and give yourself that permission to succeed so you can reach your goals faster and easier.
I love it. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this head trash, because you said it's the number one reason that people feel stuck. What in the world is it? And how does I have some ideas, especially since not for nothing, you've written books for a lot of the places that I follow, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Hay House, which a lot of people don't know about, which is just a terrific resource. And they talk about very similar themes. So what is head trash for those who are new to that concept?
Yes, absolutely. So head trash, I've really written 15 books on this one concept of head trash. What is head trash and why does it keep so many people stuck? So head trash, what I teach at my live events and my keynote speeches and working with my private clients, head trash is that voice in your head that says, I can't do it because ... And then you just fill in the blank, right? So, people say, hey, no, I want to grow my business. I want to make more money. I want to write a book. I want to have online programs. I want to be a speaker like you are. I want to be a coach. I want to, whatever it might be. This is my dream. This is my goal. But I can't do it because. And then ... And then they just, they give me some excuse, right? Well, I can't do it because I don't have the time. I can't do it because I don't have the money. I can't do it because I can't afford it. I can't do it because I'm too old. I can't do it because I made too many mistakes, because I'm married, because I'm divorced, because I have kids, because I don't have kids, because I'm a Martian. I mean, whatever it is, people have all these excuses. But here's what I want everyone listening to this program to realize is you always make yourself right. See, we humans have an almost infinite capacity to make ourselves right? So whatever you say after the word because is what you're going to defend to the death, right? Even if it's something you don't even want to be true. So, for example, you say, well, no, I really want to make more money, but I don't have the time, right? Well, I can actually prove to you that you just lied to yourself, and here's why. Imagine you're going through your day, and all of a sudden the phone rings, and it's a family member, and they say, hey, you know what? You got to get down to the emergency room right now because one of our family members was just in an accident. It's really serious. You got to get down to the ER right now, because this is, really, really serious. So what are you going to say in that moment? Are you going to say, that's not a really good time. How about next Thursday, right? I mean, of course not, right? That's ridiculous, right? No one would ever say that, right? What would you do? You would, of course, you drop everything. Even if you have, a million things to do, which we all do every day, right?
Right.
But you would instantly drop everything and you would rush over to the ER. Now, of course, you don't want that to happen. I'm not saying that we want that, obviously. But the point of the story of the example is you have the time, right? I just proved to you that time is irrelevant. It's nothing to do with time. You, me, Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, Richard Branson, we all have the same 24 hours. Like, it has nothing to do with time. It actually has to do with systems. So this is one of the things that I, say at my live events, my keynote speeches, and working with clients is this: we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems.
Ouch. Wow. I'm just going to absorb that for a second. And it's for someone who, like myself, who's a budding entrepreneur. I have a show. I'm a financial advisor, and I have some other little hustles that I have going on. I am writing a book. I started my outline today, finally. for my book.
I can help you get it done, Melanie. Let's talk after let's get it done.
I think I'm probably just going to replay this podcast. I have a feeling over and over again every time I feel like I can.
Right. We got to monetize that, right? I can tell you all that stuff. But I mean, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it's all about systems.
That is fantastic. I love that. And the thing is, it is so very true. Speaking of head trash, my same friend, it talks about how important words are. I was talking to him about something. I think I was doing what you just mentioned about saying how you don't have time, this, that, and the other to fulfill your dreams. And he said, you know what you need? And I was like, what? He's like, you need a brain enema.
Well, we just call it taking out your head trash. Right? I've written 15 books on that, and at Power Habits book, we've got all those great bonuses for you, so you can definitely get it. And it is on Audible and also on Kindle too, by the way. So people can actually get that for 99 cents today on Kindle, the new Power Habits book. But yeah, it really is, because what we teach, and the reason that I've helped people make just millions and millions of dollars now over the last 20 years is very simple. I teach two things about inner game and outer game, right? Inner game systems and outer game systems. Inner game is everything that happens between your ears that you can't see directly, but you see the effects of it everywhere. So like at my speeches and my live events, one of the things I say to my audiences, I'll say to them, okay, what is one area of your life where your habits don't affect you? Where don't your habits affect you? And of course they go, and I go, exactly. Your habits affect everything, right? Your beliefs, your habits affect every single part of your life. Your beliefs affect your habits affect your relationships, your money, your health, your business, your social life, your family life, your marriage, everything. There's no place your beliefs don't affect you. But here's the thing, you can't see a belief. You only see the effects of it, right? So if you're telling yourself, for example, I can't do it because, and then, that's your belief, but you don't even know it's there, it's just going to affect everything that you do. But then we also have the outer game, right? That's inner game. That you can't see it, but it affects everything. But then you have the outer game. That's what you can see directly. That's your lead magnet. habits, your sales funnels, if you're in business, right? Your sales, your marketing, all the different systems that we have to have in business, right? But even your career, even if you don't own a business, right? Your career, you have different things that you have to do every day in your job, right? Or as the CEO of your company, you Inc. And so that's the point. It's all about only when you master inner game and outer game do you have the phenomenon called success. But most people are lacking in one or even both of those systems.
That is so true. You're so, and I'm ministering to myself as we speak, and I'm sure many of my audience members are doing the same exact thing. Now, this is where I have a feeling that the most toes are going to be stepped on among my listeners and myself. I'm very comfortable right now. I don't have my shoes on. I probably should put on some boots, because the next thing that you're going to tell us about, I hope, is what habits are like non-money making habits? What habits are good habits? Like, why is it important to develop good habits, and what kind of habits are we talking about? What's that connection?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And so at my company's called SuccessClinic.com, and I've been, online since 1997. So like I said, I've been teaching people this for over 20 years now, over 2 decades. I actually own one of the very original personal and business growth websites on the internet. I started my college dorm room with $800 and a book on how to do HTML. And so I really just had a vision to help people, and this was one of the areas that I wanted to help people on, is this area of habits. And so at SuccessClinic.com, we don't talk about good habits and bad habits. We don't use that terminology for one simple reason. We feel that just puts too many labels on people, right? So because most people are beating themselves up and they say, oh man, I got all these bad habits, and then it doesn't enable you to change, right? It doesn't empower you, it actually disempowers you. So what we like to say is productive versus unproductive habits. And we do that for a very simple reason. You like that? Did you like that one?
I do like that, because the other is kind of negative self-talk, which is a bad thing.
Exactly. Well, that's what you're proving my point. Exactly. So when you say productive and unproductive, it actually makes it very, very simple, because instead of beating yourself up and saying, you say, no, listen, is this habit bringing me toward my goal? Now, that is a productive habit, right? It's productive. It's getting me towards my pot of gold. Whether you want to add 6 figures or 7 figures in the next year, you want to write your book, you want to, get your online programs, you want to get a new job, you want to, whatever it is, right? Whatever your pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow, that is that's your goal, but you have to have those productive habits to get you towards your goal. Now, of course, an unproductive habit would be one that stops you from reaching that goal, right? It holds you back or stops you from reaching that goal. So the example I always give at my live events and in my keynote speeches is procrastination, right? Procrastination. So I love to ask my audiences, how many of us procrastinate? How many people here procrastinate? Of course, 80% of the hands go up, and everyone else is waiting until later to raise their hand. Right? So procrastination humor for you there. But anyway, you get the point. We all procrastinate, right? But the point is, why? Why do we do this? Why do we do this thing that we know is not good for us? Because who would argue that procrastination is a productive habit? Oh yeah, when I procrastinate, that's absolutely going to move me towards my goal, right? I mean, I think you'd have to be kind of insane to say that, right? We all know procrastination is an unproductive habit, so why do we do it? Well, ironically, we do it to protect ourselves. Now, let's just stay with me for a second, and I'll show you how this works in the brain. See, habits are formed in the brain, right? The brain is really 2 parts. There's the conscious level, which is like the 5% that's, if you use the analogy of the iceberg, right? About 5% that's visible above the surface. The vast 95% is below the surface, right? So just like the iceberg. So the point is, it wasn't the top part of the iceberg that sank the Titanic. It was the part they couldn't see that sunk the Titanic, right? And that's what's sinking all of us, is the part we can't see. So that's where these habits are held, is in the subconscious mind. So what did they tell us, right? In traditional success literature, traditional success gurus, they say, well, listen, if you're procrastinating, don't procrastinate. Just power through it, right? Use that willpower and focus on your goals. And
Well, if I had that, I wouldn't procrastinate. Like, if it was that simple, then people simply wouldn't procrastinate. My battle here recently has been the gym, like me and like everybody else, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And see, that still comes down to systems, inner game systems, because here we are, we're coming up on the new year, we're coming up on the new decade, right? It's the new decade, not just the new year. And you know what? On January 1st, those gyms are going to be full, or January 2nd, right? January 2nd, the gyms are full. January 30th, they're empty again. Why? Because people haven't mastered what I'm talking about right now, the power habit system. Everybody's trying to use willpower. So the point of what is willpower? Well, willpower really is trying to use your conscious mind to fight your subconscious habits. So think about that for a second. That's really what willpower is. So going back to that iceberg analogy I just gave you, or the illustration, you're fighting 95% of your brain with 5% of your brain. Now, if you have, let's say you had a football team, right? And you've got 5 guys going up against 95 guys. Which team do you think is going to win that game, right?
Yeah, it does not take a mathematical scholar to figure this one out.
Exactly, right. Pretty clear the 95 guys are going to win, but only every time, right? So what I always tell my clients and my audience is, if you're okay with failing, if you're okay with being stuck, just keep doing what you're doing, right? And it's not your fault, because we've all been taught this. We're all taught to use this. All the gurus are teaching the same thing, right? And just willpower, think positive. I was like, oh my God, and maybe for some people it works. Maybe for them it worked, but for the rest of us, it didn't work at all, because we're not using, and we're not taught how to use our brain properly. All right. So the point is, we've got to understand that we need to, using my power habit system, that is a big part of it. It's saying, wait a minute, it's not about using willpower anymore. It's about understanding these unconscious habits to make it so that you can allow yourself to succeed, give yourself permission to succeed, so you can stop stopping yourself from the success you're capable of.
Somebody in the Facebook chat, one of my faithful listeners, Doug, said, Common Core will never solve that equation. That's pretty funny. That's what I was laughing at. That is so very true. We're up against the break in like 2 minutes, right? But I want to talk about our whole goal. I think in any of our dreams and things that we have, especially financially or professionally, is to have a little bit more freedom. As you know, there's a old cliche or saying that when people are on their deathbed, they never wish that they worked more. People's ultimate goal is to kind of be more free. So you say that there's 4 elements of a freedom lifestyle. Can we squeeze in one over the next 2 minutes, and then on the other side of the break, we can talk about the rest?
Yes, absolutely. So, we have a live events. I mentioned I do a lot live events twice a year. They're called Freedom Lifestyle Experience for this precise reason, Melanie, because people all around the world want to experience more freedom, right? Time freedom, financial freedom, and so forth. So the flip side of that, of course, is being stuck or feeling stuck. So what I realized is that freedom and stuckness are 2 sides of the same coin. So what I did is I broke it down to these 4 elements, which we can look at now, and then we can go after the break. We'll definitely dive in even deeper. But the 4 elements of a freedom lifestyle are time, energy, relationships, and money. Those are the 4 elements of a freedom lifestyle: time, energy, relationships, and money. So we start with the subject of time, because time is the most valuable resource for one simple reason: because we don't get any more, right? All of Bill Gates' billions can't buy 1 minute of yesterday. So for the folks listening, I want you to rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on how stuck or abundant do you feel on time. Meaning, a 1 would be like, I've got too much to do in too little time, and a 10 would be, hey, I've got all the time in the world, right? So I want you to really understand that the use of time, like I mentioned earlier, it has nothing to do with I don't have time. It's the fact that you don't have the systems in place so that you're experiencing the financial and time freedom that you really, really want. That's what it's more important to focus on.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. And look at you. I can tell you do this all the time. You nailed that 2-minute mark. Just like boom, 5:40.
Well, that's my job.
You'd be surprised. You're listening.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. My guest today is the one and only Mr. Noah St. John, and he's talking to us about power habits and how we can have more productive habits rather than less productive habits. You like that? We'll be right back in a few moments.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics,
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
and all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events? All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz. Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
New show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there. For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's no surrender ever, because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, near 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. My guest this hour is Noah St. John. He's talking to us about power habits that people, about power habits. Let me just cut that off right there. He's talking to us about power habits. Before the break, we talked about a freedom lifestyle, and one of the elements of a freedom lifestyle, Noah said, is time. and he asked us to analyze how we were doing on time. Can you reiterate for me what you said before the break? You were very specific in how you asked us to evaluate how we're spending our time.
Yes, absolutely. And so, one of the things we do at our events and at my keynote speeches, I have people write down, okay, how are you doing? Rate yourself 1 to 10 in this area of time, right? 1 would be like, well, I feel like I have too much to do in too little time. I'm always running around. I got a million one things to do every day, and I never have enough time. A 10 would be, hey, I got plenty of time. I got all the time in the world, right? So how stuck or abundant do you feel on time? And by the way, let me just say this. Imagine if you had $1 million in the bank and you didn't have any time to enjoy it. Would you think that's an abundant life or a freedom lifestyle? Probably most people would not feel that way, right? Even if you have lots of money, but you don't have any time. So time, really, what most people realize is that, at a certain point in your life, you have more time than money. But then sometimes, people like, particularly when I work with CEOs and celebrities and professional athletes, they have a lot more money than time, right? So we want to get to that balance where you have a balance of time and money because they're obviously both very important.
That's just extremely true. I used to work before I started teaching public school. I used to work in a private school, and people there are public school kids who are very envious of private school kids because we used to have some that would come in from the city and stuff like that. And I would explain to them, do you know how hard those parents work and how busy they are, and how a lot of times they don't see their kids because they're so very busy. We had one parent who they were world-renowned. I'm just going to be more broad and say physicians, because you might know who they are if I say what kind of physicians, but they're world-renowned physicians. And we literally had to make sure we let them know when their kid was getting an award, because they may or may not have even shown up at a graduation. Like that's, but on the flip side, like you want to be harsh toward them, but when you think about the kind of work that they do and how important it was, because they were specialists and they were one of the best in the world, you saving people's lives is kind of like, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Did they feel free? I doubt it. You know what I mean? Not being able to show up for their kids, like important stuff, but they were very, very, very wealthy. So
right, exactly. Well, that's why a lot of people with a lot of money hire me to help them with this freedom lifestyle, having this balance of time, energy, relationships, and money. So going back to that, the second element is energy, right? So imagine if you have $1 million and you don't have any energy, right? I mean, energy is how you go through your day, how you go through your life. So there's 2 kinds of energy. There's positive energy and negative energy, right? Positive energy would be things like gratitude, joy, giving, right? And having that attitude of gratitude and being thankful for even if other people have more than you or whatever it might be. Like I told you, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, and a lot of speakers get up on the stage and they say, well, we were poor, but we were happy. We didn't even know we were poor. And I'm like, well, we freaking knew we were poor because my mother reminded us every day that we were poor. So no, it was not happy. It sucked. It was awful. So it really took me a long time to understand that. Wait a minute, I have so much, even when I didn't have a lot of money, to be thankful for what I had, because the more that you are thankful, the more you have to be thankful for, right? So that's the positive use of energy. And of course, negative energy would be things like, jealousy, envy, fear, greed, all the negative energy, which we, of course, we all know what that is. So the point is, how are you going through your day? How are you going through your life? That's your use of energy. Now, the third area of a freedom lifestyle is relationships, right? So imagine you have $1 million and no one to enjoy it with. I remember I took my wife on a trip to the Grand Canyon, a VIP tour of the Grand Canyon several years ago. And it was just a private tour with my wife and I and this older gentleman. Well, at one point they sort of dropped us off, and then we were going to be flying back to Las Vegas. It was we took a plane and a helicopter and a boat, and I think there was a goat involved somewhere. I mean, it was pretty awesome. But anyway, so the point is that this man was there by himself, and we were sort of there waiting to go back to Las Vegas. And I said, how long have you been sitting here waiting? And he said, well, I've been here about an hour. And I said, why? To myself, I didn't say it to him, but in my head, I'm going, why would you sit here and wait for an hour when the Grand Canyon's right there? And then I realized, what made the Grand Canyon special wasn't the Grand Canyon itself. It was sharing it with my wife, sharing it with my best friend. So relationships that make life worthwhile, isn't it? And we all know that, and I think we all, get a sense of that, but sometimes it's just easy to forget. So, rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 and how you're doing in your relationships, both your personal and your professional, your business relationships. And then, of course, the fourth area of an abundant lifestyle or freedom lifestyle is money, right? Money is very, very important, hence being here on Money Talk with Melanie, which I'm so thrilled to be. But, one of the things that, people say money is not important are usually the people that don't have any. So the point is, of course, money is important. Money is very, very important. And that's why, I love being on shows like this with you, Melanie, to talk about money, because it's so important to change the conversation about money, here in the United States, because there's so much head trash about money.
And it's so funny that you say that. I was on one of my friends that does not share the same political leanings that I do, said that like it wasn't a big deal that President Trump's family wasn't accepting a salary because they were billionaires, and money doesn't mean anything to billionaires. And I said to the person, that is literally the opposite of the way billionaires think. I said, money is actually extremely important to billionaires. That's how they get to be billionaires and stay billionaires.
That's right.
I said,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I said it's literally the polar opposite. Like, what are you talking about?
I remember there was a movie with Adam Sandler. I think it was called Just Go With It, where he was Jennifer Aniston, and he was playing a surgeon. And I always remember that scene because one of the rare kids says, "Well, you got lots of money, what's the big deal to you? You're rich. You have lots of money." He goes, "Yeah, that's how I got rich, by not giving people my money. That's the point." That's how I remember that.
That is exactly the point. So it was just funny that you said, people who don't think money is important is because they don't have any. Like, amen.
Right. Exactly.
It is the triple truth. We only have a couple of minutes left, so I want you to talk about. I really wanted to know about being unconsciously competent, but I'm going to be unselfish here and ask you about how your program is different from all other ones, and then if you could quickly also tell my audience how they can take advantage of some of your free gifts. You have time, but I wanted to make sure that we got both of those points in.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, so really what makes my program different, what makes Power Habits different is very, very simple. I don't teach you how to make a lot of money, even though I help people make millions and millions and millions of dollars. I don't teach you how to succeed, even though after people go through my program, they become very successful. What I teach you is, number one, why you're unconsciously stopping yourself from the success you're perfectly capable of. And number two, how to get rid of the head trash that's holding you back right now. So think about it this way. You want to reach your goals, right, in the new year, and you want to get to that place faster and easier. It's like driving a car. But most people, 97% of people, are driving down the road of life with one foot on the brake. And if you just keep stepping on the gas harder, which is what all those other gurus will tell you to do, well, just step on the gas harder, but your foot's still on the brake, you're never going to reach your goal. So what I do is, and what Power Habit System does, is it shows you systematically, number one, why your foot's on the brake in the first place, and then how to systematically get your foot off the brake so you can stop stopping yourself, so you can have the time, the energy, the relationships, and the money that you really, really want. I
love it. That's fantastic. Okay, so now those of my audience that are listening, and also I have will this opportunity be open to people who listen to the podcast as a download later on? Because many of the people who listen to my show will listen to it as a download sometime next week on many of the wonderful podcast platforms that are available. Will this opportunity for free gifts be available to them as well?
Yes, it will. Just go to powerhabitsbook.com. Very easy to remember. Powerhabitsbook.com. It's the Power Habits book. That's the name of it. So powerhabitsbook.com. Just go there to that page. Then you'll click the button, get and order the book on Amazon. Come back to the page, put in your order information, and you can order it anywhere, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore. But just go to powerhabitsbook.com, put in your order info, and then because you're listening to this program right now, I will actually give you a digital gift package worth over $299, including a special video that I never released to the public before, and 2 ebooks that are bonuses that I never released before. So powerhabitsbook.com, and you can take advantage of all those awesome gifts, as well as get this book that can change your life. And by the way, with the holidays here, you want to get this book for everyone on your list, because last time I checked, most of the people on your list are human beings, and most human beings have trouble and want to improve their habits.
Yep. Nope. I totally agree with you. And most of them are human beings. Around this time of year, with the political climate being the way it's debatable.
Right. I said most. I said, the majority. Pretty much most.
Oh, but I'm posting the link in the Facey chat, and I'll make sure that I post it along with the podcast as well. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thanks, Melanie. Hey, I'd be happy to come back and we can continue our conversation, but it's been great to be here with you today.
Thank you so very much. You have a fantastic weekend.
You too.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
indeed. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. That was my guest, Noah St. John. He was fabulous. I thought he was fabulous. I hope you guys completely agree. I want to thank everybody who's listening in the Facey chat. And those of you who are listening to this as a download, I appreciate you so much. Eva Rosenberg, Robert Houston, John Campbell, thank you so much for always supporting the show. I appreciate you. Doug Poss, Katina Person, I see you in the Facey chat being very active. I appreciate you. Anybody who shared my Facebook video, you rock as well. I want to make sure I get all of my thank yous in for today. And remember that all of this is very important because after all, it's your money. Have a great weekend.